sometimes college basketball exposes your weakness. Perfect example is Costa Koufos. Yeah. Went to Ohio State and they thought he'd be a lottery pick.
How about the run by the East as Ed Davis finishes inside after Michael Rosario from his hindquarters at midcourt made a great hit ahead. A couple of quick buckets by the East All-Americans, and it's a 9-point lead.
And I love Rosario. I love his carriage, as we talked about on Monday. The way he handles the ball, I think he's going to be a great leader for Rutgers right from the minute he shows up.
Set to trigger in Michael Rosario. You see him in the top right corner of your screen wearing number 3, a Jersey City native. Out of St. Anthony's, played for the legendary high school coach Bob Hurley. The rebound followed inside missed by Ed Davis and then thrown down by Jamichael Green. But Rosario, at least in the Northeast, has made about as big a group of news as you could as a high school recruit simply by choosing Rutgers. That's not where McDonald's All-Americans normally go.
You're absolutely right. He's being compared to the running back, the Rutgers running back,
Ray Rice,
and who went down there and really helped that program get turned around. And when you're Freddie Hill and you get a Michael Rosario to help start your program, he has a couple good freshmen this year, but that's a big get because he's already recruited 2 other kids, 2 juniors to come with him. And as I said, Scotty Hobson on the radar.
I mean, you Jersey guys recruiting for other Jersey schools.
Hobson.
Well, check that. Pardon me. That was Hobson.
Boy, this is really interesting. I thought this was...
You're like surprised they're scoring.
That ain't my area. You know, I'm not worried about that. Look at this.
Rosario with a beautiful fadeaway from the corner, and a timeout immediately called by Woody Jackson on the East bench.
And I think Rosario is one of these players that it's not just great that a McDonald's All-American goes to Rutgers, but he's probably a 4-year guy because he's in between positions, and he's such a fine basketball player as far as his complete skill set. Here's a nice little step back, and righties will tell you it's much more difficult to shoot a step back going right than it is left. Nice little balance, a little push-off, Willie Warren.
We talked to him today, Bob. He talked about how it's so important to his mother, his grandmother, all his family to come and watch him play. Felt just a connection with Fred Hill. As soon as he got there on the first day, said it was never in doubt. Rutgers was the place, and I know the Rutgers people have to be thrilled about that.
Rutgers, he said, was his first recruiting visit. And so I said, that's not normally where the Jersey players go. They don't normally stay home. And he said that he feels, growing up in Jersey City, that he owes a special loyalty to the state and wanted to build up the program. And I think you're right, Coach. I don't think for a second that has at least something to do with what happened with Greg Schiano and Ray Rice in the football program. He wants to do that with the basketball program.
I agree. I think that's exactly what he wants to do.
Drew Holiday, just silky smooth. But I have to tell you about Kevin Garnett. You know, he was the first to start this straight out of high school to the pros out on the West Coast. And so I hadn't really seen him. You know, he tried to take the SAT, took the SAT the day before the Magic's Round Ball Classic, his last time trying to get into school because he wanted to go play in college. And so he didn't make the practices, and the practices for any of these events are actually more competitive than the games. And he showed up the day of the game, and I'm telling you, from the time he first touched the basketball, it was pretty obvious. I'm talking about Pierce and Mercer and Chauncey Billups and Stephon Marbury and Sharif Abdul-Rahim. He was far and away the best player in the floor. He's a magnificent athlete.
And that's been borne out.
He had 30 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists that year in the All-Star game. Rosario, 1,000-point scorer at St. Anthony's.
And we can't talk about Rutgers anymore because we talked about him the first 6 minutes.
One of 2.
It just became like, we started talking about what exit are you from? I mean, the Jets, and how about that new stadium?
135. Okay. And then Jennings off the backboard. Our score at the half. 6-point lead for the East. Now Lo Galindo in our Sports Center U studio.
That's it.
Looking for another assist and a breakup. What a play by Elliott Williams, and now Rosario with some showtime. And then Rosario, a steal, finds Williams, and he's fouled hard.
And you know, the best thing about Rosario, you guys talked about how much he's won in high school. I mean, you play for a winning program, and when you're going to turn around the prospects of Rutgers, as he has kind of taken on himself, you have to start investing in a culture of winning. And he came from a culture of elite winning in high school.
His high school was the #1 team in the country, coached by Bob Hurley. The #2 team in the country was St. Benedict's, coached by Danny Hurley, Bob's son. That's really impressive.
St. Anthony's
I'm sorry,
won
they're both from New Jersey.
That's right. Well, they won the New Jersey Tournament of Champions, which is all the sections, and eventually they play a little tournament. And Rosario's St. Anthony's team beat the second-place team by 35. So they were the dominant team in the state.
6 Division I scholarship players on that team.
Bats it up and down as we check in with Quint.
Bob, the thing that stands out about Rosario this week, you watch him through all the drills, all the scrimmages. The engine's always on. I mean, this is a kid that goes 100% everything he does, offense, defense. He's got a lot of pride in the Rutgers program already. He wants to, be the Prince of New Jersey and be in charge of the whole resurrection of that program.
Outlet.
Lee runs it down. And Quint, you're right. That is front page news in the sports section in the Northeast. And there's Rosario with a takeaway from Malcolm Lee. Plays at the Dean Dome. Rosario with the breakup and the takeaway. And the finish.
I'm just saying.
Rosario reverses. This is open gym now. This week here in Milwaukee is certainly not all about basketball, and the players in the McDonald's All-American game learned exactly that. We'll explain when we come back.
Closed captioning for selective programming is brought to you by Unlimited Footwear by Mark Echo.
Unlimited Footwear by Mark Echo.
He is trying one. Oh, good feed.
Rosario from the corner. Got it.
That is a big bucket in this game. 11-point lead.
With 2 minutes and 18 seconds to go. And Jennings takes it himself. Rejected by Jermichael Green. And an offensive foul called.
Coming around to your boy. I'm coming around to your boy, Rosario.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, defensively, Kemba Walker forcing Brandon Jennings right. He wants to go left. Rosario sliding over, taking the charge.
Walker, nice look underneath, and Rosario is going to be credited with 2 as DeMar DeRozan is called for goaltending.